When my business was growing fast, I was still small and I didn't have the budget to hire a full-time designer for all of our presentation needs. And I turned to Upwork and I met Wasim, who created the most stunning visual presentation for a huge global client that I really needed to nail. And after that experience, Wasim and I worked together for years. Upwork is your one stop platform to find, hire, and pay expert freelancers across web and software development, data and analytics, marketing, business operations, and more. Upwork really helps grow your business because you can get fast, trustworthy access to specialized talent across 128 categories. Just visit upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's upwork.com to connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's Upwork, work.com, upwork.com. Hydration makes me feel better, think better, have more energy. And that's why I love Drip Drop. That's dripdrop.com, promo code Achiever, and get 20% off. I tried IM8 a few months ago, and I feel amazing because after all, energy is all we have. And when we have energy, you can go to im8health.com/achiever right now, or click on the link in the description and use code Achiever for a free welcome kit, 5 free travel sachets, plus 10% off your order. Go to monarch.com and write your own money story. Use code Achiever at monarch.com and get your first year of Monarch Core at half off. If you're trying to grow globally, you know that there's compliance and paperwork and a lot of things that you need to worry about and you need help with. And that's what Pebble is here for. But right now, there's a limited time offer that makes it even easier to get started if you're growing globally. Just go to hipebble.ai before it's gone. That's HIPEBL.ai. Terms and conditions apply. With Shopify, nothing stands between your idea and a real business. So go make it one. Start your free trial at shopify.com/anxiousachiever. I use Whatnot for live, connected community shopping for everything from jewelry and high-end fashion to collectibles and fun things. Just search Whatnot, WHATNOT, in the App Store. I have a special treat for you today on The Anxious Achiever, and it's a conversation with Olivia F. Scott. Olivia's work sits at the intersection of ambition, wellness, and truth-telling. She is the founder of Freedom at the Mat, a women's wellness sanctuary offering yoga and mindfulness experiences designed especially for busy women. And she is a seasoned marketing executive and an educator who has spent years building big brands and telling stories. Through Freedom at the Mat and her Well Chat conversations, Olivia creates a sacred space for women, particularly Black women, to put down the strong one mask and prioritize their mental, emotional, and physical health. So we joined forces. This episode is going to appear on Olivia's podcast, and it's on The Anxious Achiever today for you. And it is a really honest conversation. It's about what it's like to pivot in midlife, to choose newness, to change, even when it is friggin' scary. And the beauty of community and knowing because you've lived a full life even when you don't know. My conversation with Olivia F. Scott.
Hi, everybody. It's Olivia Scott with Freedom at the Mat. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Well Chat. So instead of just being a solo episode this week, as usual, I am blessed to be joined by a woman whose work deeply inspires me and whose work also influences the greater mental health society. Her name is Maura Aarons-Mele. Maura is the host of the Anxious Achiever podcast and the author of The Anxious Achiever, Turn Your Biggest Fears into Your Leadership Superpower. So today we're bringing our worlds together, Freedom at the Mat and The Anxious Achiever, to have a real middle-aged anxious achiever conversation about authenticity, performance, and what it means to be both driven and human. This is for all of my middle-agers. Like myself, I finally come into realization that I'm a middle-ager. I'm a midlifer. So Maura, welcome.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you. It's so good.
Have you embraced the fact that you're middle-aged? Have you gotten there?
Oh my gosh, yes. I am turning 50 in just about, a little over a month.
Welcome
So, yeah,
to the club.
here I am.
Are you excited about it? Are you anxious? How are you feeling? Because 50 does something a little different, I think.
How old are you?
52.
Okay. All right. So you're just starting. I think that it's a big milestone. Our society makes it a big milestone. I don't know about you when you were turning 50, but all my friends, everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, are you, there's like this sort of, I feel this pressure to market in a really significant way that I'm not sure I actually really want to do. And then I feel guilty about that. So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. And I realized that for other people, like I wanted to do something different with my 50th, which is kind of just chill. And I think that society makes us want to turn up, get it crunk. And that's just not my energy. But anyway, welcome. And I want to do a shout out to Sounds Profitable for creating the space for us to meet at the South by Southwest Summit this year. So
That's right.
You and I talked about spinning and midlife. So what I want to talk with you about, my first question for you is, when the mic goes off and the camera's put away, I love your podcast, The Anxious Achiever.
Thank you.
Because that's who I am, so I totally identify with it. But what is the truest sentence that you say to yourself about your life right now that you rarely, if ever, say publicly?
Oh, gosh. That I'm rebuilding. I think that I would love your thoughts. I mean, I think that, again, with the societal expectations that by the time you're 50, you've figured it out, you're at a certain point in your career, blah, blah, blah. And for me, my 50th year is actually one of the most tumultuous years professionally that I've ever had in my life. So it's been a really weird sensation of being like, you're 50. Yeah, you've done a lot. And you're kind of in this like very uncertain, tumultuous space professionally that you didn't necessarily think you'd be in. I don't know if that resonates at all.
No, it does. It's, I'm absolutely rebuilding. Mm-hmm. And I've recently, of course, many of my friends are middle-agers as well, midlifers. Mm-hmm. And I'm finding many of us are reaching out like, hey, if you got any projects, let me know. Hey, because I've been a freelancer for a long time, independently employed. And what I recently learned was whether you're independently employed, like I have been for 17 years, mm-hmm. or whether you had a job, because I talked to some friends of mine in Dallas, really good friends of mine, and learned that there's like this pushing out at a certain age where like ageism is starting to creep up. Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of young people who they want the reins. They want to be the director. They want to be vice president, right? So they're pushing us out. So no matter if it's, whether you have clients and you're independently employed or you are employed, within a system, we're all struggling a little bit with like job safety. Mm-hmm. I feel like, mm-hmm. and we're trying to figure out, okay, we've got 30 years down in the workforce, 30 mm-hmm. or 30 plus. And we've got about 15 more to go.
Yep.
You'd say, got 15 more to go, 12 to 15, depending on how your retirement's set up, right? Or when you want to retire or where you want to retire, right? You could be an expat or whatever. So I'm finding that we're all kind of rebuilding. I'm definitely rebuilding as well. And there is joy in it, but there's also a lot of fear of the unknown. Mm-hmm. I'll speak to my career starting off at Leo Burnett and Frankel and DDB and all those things in Chicago. And I had a track and I was, woo, 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 woo. And after Chicago, after those first 6 years, then I went to New York and it was woo, In Demand, Vibe, Black Nation, right? Carol's Daughter. It was declining, right? And then I extracted myself out of that for a year and COVID hit. And I found myself in New Orleans in a whole new world. And so I think, you're like, well, wait a minute. And then you have Freedom at the Mat that gets born in Harlem, late Harlem, but really blooms in New Orleans, but isn't necessarily revenue generating, right? Mm-hmm. Honestly. So you're like, well, okay. But then, at our age, you're like, well, is it time for me to do something else? Because I also know what I want to hear what you have to say about this. I don't want to just make this a soliloquy, but I feel like many of us have a few career paths in us.
Oh, for sure. I think what's interesting is that, I'll just start with this since this is a show called Freedom at the Mat. I literally just did Pilates and I made my 15-year-old son come with me. He and I have been doing Pilates together because he's recovering from a knee injury. And then his best friend, who's also a 15-year-old Yahoo. And we did Pilates and they were like dying. And these are like big athletic boys who can like bench press and stuff. And I watch them dying in Pilates and I'm all like, and the instructor is also a woman of our age. And I kind of turned to them after and I'm like, huh. They're like, that was hella hard. And I was like, yeah,
Right.
So there's this sense of like, I am so strong, I am resilient. I don't feel 50. I feel 35 in my head, in my body, like, well, my body aches, but I mean, let's be honest. So there's this piece of me that I feel super youthful. I feel super strong. I feel fit, all these great things. And then sometimes I meet people and I think they don't perceive me that way, or I'm like, I'm very much in a learning phase in my career. I am also a career pivoter. I had a long career in political communications and marketing. I know yours was more on the brand side. We traveled similar paths, right? We were at big companies, big agencies, and then on our own working with really big brands for a long time. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. This year's my 20th anniversary. I owned a business. I sold it. And then I was like, I'm going to devote my life to workplace mental health and helping people who are leaders, super ambitious, like you said, but maybe they're neurodivergent. Maybe they manage mental health challenges. They just feel different and typical work doesn't work for them. I'm going to help them figure out how to make work work. That's like always been my mission, but it wasn't always my day job. Now it's my day job. So it's been a real pivot and I'm in this learning mode, but then I think sometimes I get on the phone with people about prospective work and they see me as this like, older, expensive senior woman, like,
right.
Does that make sense? That was a long answer. Sorry.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I asked one of the ladies who used to work on my team previously, and I was like, I need to get some new contracts. What would you recommend? I mean, how do I, market myself, whatever. And she was very cute. She said, could you look less big?
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, what you just said around you look like a senior expensive woman, which you are, which I am, right? So we have to find the right rooms that can afford us, which means opening up our networks and expanding our territories. And right, I'm in the process of doing that, going into new rooms and all of that, because potentially we've outgrown our existing networks or how we perceive within our networks doesn't work for us financially anymore. But when she said that, I was like, ooh, right? And I'm always very humbled. I just do the work. I love my work. I've been writing since I was 9 years old. I've been creating since I was, a little girl. So I've always been a creator, but we have had beautiful careers on the first round. And it wasn't until recently I went to a concert and I documented this on my Medium blog about encountering Christian McBride 35 years after I met him, when he kind of opened the door, the bassist for Christian McBride, who opened the door for my career, literally. And I was talking to him and a lot of, I've had a very good career. I worked at Atlantic Records. I worked at Vibe. I worked at Live Nation. I went through all this in a very past tense. And it says, and you've only just started.
Oh, tell my audience who Christian McBride is, just in case they don't know.
He's a bassist. He's an award-winning bassist. He's won 9 Grammys. He's incredible, internationally reputed bassist, Christian McBride. just known international, a great bassist. And he was somebody that when I was interning at Mizzou for a jazz promoter as the intern, I had to pick him up at the airport. And so we had some quality time that night. And he said, what do you want to do with your career, kid? And I was like, I want to work in the music business. And he turned over a relationship to me that I had to follow up. He gave it to me, gave me the layup, and then I followed through. And that is exactly how my career kind of unfolded, from him saying, call this person in New York and tell her that I said for her to give you an internship. And she did, based on the strength of this, really amazing bass player. So when I ran into him recently at a concert here in New Orleans, and I was like, I just had to let you know, it's been 35 years. I don't know if you remember me, but it was 1993 when you were at Mizzou, University of Missouri campus. I picked you. And he was like, okay, not really remembering it. But when I mentioned other things, he was like, that definitely happened. That definitely happened. And I was just like, I'd like to thank you because you opened the door. But it was me talking in so much retrospect, like I was a has-been. Like, and I just want to thank you because my career was amazing. Then I worked here, then I worked there, all because you opened the door. And he was just like, think you've only just begun. And that statement, his confidence in me, so not the first time, but the second time, kind of gave me this jolt.
I love
this renewed energy that, okay. There's more to come. I'm going to have to craft it. I'm going to have to believe in myself and find new pastures to graze. But you're only 52, you're only 52, which is a different way of looking at it for me.
That's an incredible reframe. I'm very into mindset. And I think that what he absolutely helps you with was a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Which is, as we know, so powerful. I think I might steal that for myself because I have been, I just had sort of like not a job interview, but because I'm not really looking for like a full-time job, although maybe, I mean, never say never. I was interviewing for a role as like a coach, to be a coach on like a roster at a company. And I was writing up my bio for them, and it was very retrospective now that you put it that way. It was so like, big bold names and like President Obama and blah blah blah, and that's all true,
right?
But it, until this moment, sort of never occurred to me to be like, what am I really into now? Like, what am I looking forward? What do I want to dig my teeth into?
Correct. And I think, I don't know, I'll just speak for myself because we're just being honest and just talking about our respective lives. I can speak for myself and say that I borrowed a lot of power, position power from the adjacency to those brands.
100%.
So now that that adjacency is no longer currently, I have to stand on my own 2 feet and be like, I'm Olivia Scott. That's who I am. I'm Olivia F. Scott. These are the things I've accomplished. This is my track record. These are the things I can do. And to your point, what do I want to do?
That's right.
Right?
That's right. We are an entrepreneurial family. We are a neurodivergent, chaotic, fun, smart, wonderful entrepreneurial family. And we use Shopify to make it easy and bring our business ideas to life. If you've been sitting on a business idea, Shopify makes it easy to make it happen. It's everything you need to start selling just from day one. The moment your first customer is ready to pay is an amazing moment. Shopify checkout helps more of them finish the purchase. And when they come back, their details are already saved. It's just one tap and they're done with that great purple shop button. Shopify powers millions of businesses worldwide, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to small businesses just getting started, maybe like yours. With Shopify, nothing stands between your idea and a real business. So go make it one. Whether you're selling car parts or you're selling handmade accessories for toys, which you have designed. I may have personal experience with that one. Go make it work. Start your free trial at shopify.com/anxiousachiever. Start your free trial at shopify.com/anxiousachiever. Let's talk about money. Money isn't just dollars and cents. It's emotions, it's hopes, it's dreams, it's guilt, it's anxiety, which you know if you listen to this show. We've done episodes on your emotions around money, your money story from childhood, how to build a better relationship with your money. I have to tell you, my relationship with my money is the best it's ever been. And that's from some great therapy, some really good financial advice, and using Monarch. Monarch is where I see my entire financial picture. And it's wonderful, especially as I'm planning for college, because I can hit savings goals, I can see net worth, and I can plan net worth milestones. My favorite thing about Monarch is that most apps, and actually the way we learn to budget, it only tells you what you've already spent, right? You look back at actuals, but Monarch helps you set goals, map out big purchases, and see if you're actually on track before it's too late to adjust. So you're not just looking back and feeling guilty about what you overspent. You can say, how much did I spend on Walgreens or CVS or Starbucks? And you can say, can I afford this vacation? Big question. Write your own money story with Monarch. Use code Achiever at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core at half off. It's just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code Achiever. In my line of work, I facilitate a lot of retreats and offsites and really, really good, I hope, sessions where people are creating new ideas and thinking and evolving. And then what happens, right? You're in these meetings and then you get back to your desk and you think, oh, I had that really good idea. What was it? Or worse, you've been heads down during a meeting, typing notes instead of actually listening. And now your brain is fried when you get back to your desk. Well, granola fixes that. You know that moment when a meeting ends and someone says, let's circle back on this next week. Everyone nods, but no one writes it down. That's why granola exists. It's an AI-powered notepad built for the way real people actually meet. You take rough notes like you normally would, and in the background, granola securely transcribes the meeting, and then it turns everything into clean, structured, actually useful notes when the meeting ends. And the best part is that granola works through your device's audio, which means it integrates seamlessly into the video conferencing tools you already use. No setup, no awkward bots. Oh, those bots. If meetings are eating up your day, granola is a no-brainer, and you can try it totally free. Just head to granola.ai/achiever. That's granola.ai/achiever and get your time back. Try it for free at granola.ai/achiever.
So I want to talk to you about being average sometimes, right? Just want to shift gears just for a moment, if you don't mind. May I?
Please.
Okay. So your podcast is about the anxious achiever. Mm-hmm. The fact that so many of us are wired to be ambitious and anxiously wanting to achieve, and the ego death and all of those things. If you, Maura, if you could drop the brand and the Maura Aarons-Mele brand, what's associated with that, for 1 year, where in your life would you let yourself just be average instead of a striver or exceptional? What would you do with your time? And how do you imagine your nervous system would respond to that?
Oh my God, that is the best question I've ever been asked. I mean, I'm kind of doing it this year in that I had this revelation about 6 months ago that I was letting so much of my mood and self-worth ride on whether I got a certain kind of email every day. That if I hadn't gotten an email of someone rewarding me or offering me a gig or somehow moving my life forward, it was a lost day or wasn't a good day, or I hadn't accomplished what I needed to that day. Like
external validation.
Correct.
Okay.
Because when you do what I do,
yes,
you're very if you don't watch yourself, you can really be guided by, I'm interested in booking more for this speaking engagement, or, whatever, like, can I interview for this article, or like a post gets a ton of likes. Name the bullshit.
Uh-huh.
And I was sort of like, oh God, I don't want to be this person anymore. Like, this is insanity. This is the definition of insanity. And my email had gotten real quiet. Like I said, it's been kind of a rough year. And I stopped getting all of those. I felt like, my phone stopped ringing, like, don't you want me anymore? Like sitting, waiting by the phone, like you're a teenager waiting for some stupid boyfriend to call. And I was like, oh my God, just no. This is no way to live. You have an incredible life. You are blessed beyond. You have love in your life. You have richness. What are you doing? And that was kind of it. Like, that was a huge moment for me. Now, I have to tell you that many months into this, it's still hard for me many days to feel like, my phone's not ringing off the hook anymore.
Yeah.
But I am so happy.
Girl, let me tell you something. Maura, I told one of my colleagues recently, or friend, somebody I've said it a couple times, I have never made as little money in my life and been as happy as I am right now.
High five.
High five. I was like, the checks, they're not coming in the way they used to, right? Got a little dribble drabble, a little drizzle, right? We're fine. Thank God. There's no bills being unpaid. We're fine. We're eating. We still travel a little bit. The travel looks a little different.
Yeah.
A little different, but we still get around a little bit. But I've never been as happy. To your point, you went to Pilates this morning. I went to the gym. I've got yoga tonight. I've got yoga in the morning. I go to yoga 3-4 times a week. I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I am probably the healthiest I've ever been. I'm able to make my meals. I get my my groceries a couple times a week. I make my salads, and I am healthy. I'm happy.
I know.
Right? So it's like,
Olivia, I never had time to pee. For 15 years, I lived my life with such tight margins that I would be with my kids, like at a sporting event or volunteering at school. But my brain was always either in the last meeting I had or the meeting I had to rush to. I was not a present person anywhere because.
But you didn't know, did you know? Were you aware?
I started to become aware in the past few years, to be honest. And I never, ever had time to do anything. It was so rigidly scheduled. The anxiety that comes from being so rigidly scheduled. My stepfather said to me a couple of years ago, he goes, you always have one foot out the door. Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a moment? And I don't want to psychoanalyze you. That is not my objective, and we're just freestyling. So if the shoe doesn't fit, of course, clearly don't put it on. I have operated like that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where I was always moving. I was always, there was this cycle to me of energy in and out, never fully grounded, right? Now I'm fully grounded. Do you think that there was something to us around not wanting to be seen or not being vulnerable and being able to be grounded and kind of staying in this space of always moving, always on the go, because you didn't have to be fully present and connected to your authentic self? For you, I'll speak for myself. I'll answer.
Tell me.
Yeah. Because I can tell you that I've done a little bit of psychoanalysis on myself. And I've been like, what was all of that around? What was all that achieving about? Right? No, I think I'm going to say, because I love my work, I will continue to say that I really do love everything that I've been afforded to do in this lifetime has come from me being a writer and a creator at a young age. So I've always loved my work and I've been driven since a very young girl. So I want to say that about 70% of my achieving was definitely connected to me having a zest and a zeal, if you will, for my work and for excellence in my work.
Correct.
But I think 30% of it was striving for self-approval, look what I can do, and to get others to believe that, to prove to others as well. In a very subconscious way. It was never like, I'm going to show them that I can do it. It was always like, I think being a Southern girl, being a woman of color, being short, like all these things I used to say to people a long time ago. I saw myself as a little brown, round Southern girl. And all of those terms are pejorative. Little, brown, round, Southern, all of those, Northern, not right. So how you identify kind of directly impacts how you move in the world and how you try to be seen. So I think that because about 30% of it was trying to overcome whatever imposter syndrome I had about not really having the goods to be in the places, to be the vice president of sponsorship marketing at Live Nation, or to be the associate publisher at Vibe Magazine, or be a CMO, right? So I was trying to prove to others and myself along the way. But the other 70%, I worked hard and weekends and nights and all that because I really loved the work and I had a pursuit of excellence that was unyielding.
Right. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people like us, achievers, strivers. And it's interesting how you have a 70-30 calculus in your head. I think that it's different for everybody. I don't judge it. Like, I don't say like, well, you have to be, I'm not one of these people who says that you should only be intrinsically motivated. I think that's bull. Michael Gervais, who's my favorite performance psychologist, I just love him. I think in all of his, rigorous scientific work, he finds that the highest performers are intrinsically motivated. So yeah, I love my work. I love doing this. This is where I want to be. I love to work hard. Yep. And they don't mind the money and the accolades. Like, that's real. I think that for those of us for whom anxiety is a key piece, though, it's always worth looking at and saying, is this still serving me? Just because I got here by operating on this model, does that mean I want to keep doing it? A lot of my beloved anxious achievers, unfortunately, have an arc, which will be familiar to your listeners, which is like, oh boy, I got really far playing by this book, punishing myself, always pushing, never stopping, right? Just go, 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 driven by some hunger, some need. And then I just burnt out. I got depressed. I had to leave everything. I had a big fracture. And so I don't want that for people. I want people to understand themselves so they can just recalibrate. It's if you're an anxious achiever and anxiety drives you for whatever reason, for a lot of my clients, it's like, I grew up really poor and it was really crappy and I don't want to be that way. Or my parents, really struggled, or I come from a family with alcoholism, or I failed out of school and I'm never going to do, they have a story that is a hard story and they attribute a lot of their striving to that story. Right. That can become a beloved piece of yourself.
Right.
It doesn't have to be something that you're like exercising from your life and saying, phew, I'm glad I cured that. Like, it's not that simple. But I think understanding the drivers is so important.
Agreed. That way you can kind of keep them in check and they don't have control over your life.
That's right. It's a choice.
Yeah. Really, really key. I appreciate that. I hope people are listening to that, because I think about a colleague who was a boss that I had that, of course, she'll remain nameless. And he was extremely driven, extremely wealthy and all these things. And I noticed there was this fear undergirding it when I had someone on one time there. And I learned later of an impoverished background. And I was like, oh, that's right. This fear is like, you're like feeding the monster. Like, but right. And so it was imposter syndrome. There was this fear that was driving all of this. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate the fact you brought up the personal cost, right? Because there's so many of us who we're performing wellness. We're saying we're okay. We're high achievers and we look regulated. We look wise. We look successful, but we're actually anxious, depleted. A lot of us are actually operating through grief as well. Right? We're not taking the time that we need to. We don't even realize it. And I think if we think about it for a second, Maura, while the money isn't rolling in right now for you and me, as we are saying right now, I know it will come back. We're going to be okay. But I also think that this is a beautiful time, though, for a lot of just self-reflection, but also resetting what I want my life to feel like. Because what you said a little bit ago was your stepfather. It was like, you got one in, one out, and you're always all over. I was all over. I wasn't present.
No.
I don't think I was even connected to how I was feeling.
No.
And that is why I left New York. I was doing a lot. And I was like, I'm burnt out of this city, 19 years. I need a 1-year break. And I chose New Orleans, and COVID started 6 weeks after I got here. And because COVID started 6 weeks after I got here, and New York City was a super spreader, I did not feel that it was prudent for me to go back to New York at that time. So 6 years later, I'm still in New Orleans and figuring out what the next step is for my career. But I share all that to say that I knew there was something off. And people kept saying, well, why did you leave? Or how did you choose New Orleans? And it was like, I really just chose it because I had some familiarity to it after working here for some years. But I just knew that the path that I was on there, what I'd done to get me there wasn't going to get me to where I needed to go next. I didn't know where I needed to go. I was quite lost. I didn't have a real clear picture, right, of like where, what the next step was. But I just knew spiritually I was off.
Isn't that funny? But you obviously have done a lot of work. You're mindful. So you kind of, I bet, knew the cues to listen for. You listened.
You know what? I guess. But it wasn't as clear as like, if anybody's listening and thinking, oh, well, like, like the move to New Orleans was a little chaotic.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there was a job waiting for me. I'd saved up money to be able to take the 1-year break, right? I'd saved up for that. But it wasn't like there was clarity around like, okay, Olivia, I want you to rise up, pack all your things up, go to New Orleans. And when you get to New Orleans, there's going to be a whole new life waiting for you. It was truly like, I gotta get out of here. The noise is just too much. It's a cacophony in my head. I gotta get out of here. And it was like this overwhelming, And so when I got here, I gotta tell you, it's like, there's so much happened when I got to New Orleans spiritually. Like I would wake up in the morning and there will be these downloads from spirit around what to do, who to call. I connected with my mother for the first time. She died when I was in my 20s. She came back to me several times in spirit and told me things to do. I was able to really, truly resettle my nervous system because I no longer lived in Harlem, where I was for a very long time, where you would hear the bus screech and all of that, the noise in the front, the concrete jungle. I woke up and there were birds. I went to sleep. I won't go so far as to say there were crickets, but I definitely heard birds for the first time in my life. I saw stars, and you're like, oh my God, is this what was waiting for me? And kind of my way was made for me when I got here, and there was a whole new world of people that were like, oh, Loyola was like, will you come be an adjunct professor here? University of New Orleans, will you be an adjunct professor? All these doors began to open that none of those things were in the cards. I just was trying to get out. So I think this is a long answer to your question around I was able to listen. It wasn't, I guess I listened with my spirit. My spirit had this urgency for rest. That's all. It had an urgency for rest, and it would not rest any longer in New York City at that time, at the pace that I was operating at.
That's right.
Right? And I thought about a return, but that return, I'd be a different woman. I would operate my life differently, and I would know how to say no to things. I think New York is one of those places, it's very high paced, many people know. And once you kind of get in the hamster wheel, there are all these events, there's all these networking, all these opportunities, and you feel like you have to, I gotta show up here, I gotta show up here, gotta go here, gotta be here. And so you're always going, always on, trying to find what the next thing is around the corner, and your spirit never rests.
There is one thing I can do to feel better, think better, and have more energy, and it's hydrate. And Drip Drop makes it easy, delicious, and I know that it's science-backed. Drip Drop is a doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind just work better. Support for busy days, long workouts, summer travel, me in the garden for many hours. Drip Drop uses science-based formulas for rapid hydration, and you feel results fast, and you get 3 times the electrolytes of leading sugary sports drinks. And honestly, they taste amazing. I love the cherry limeade, but there are 16 original flavors and 8 zero sugar plus options. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Just go to dripdrop.com and use promo code Achiever. That's dripdrop.com, promo code Achiever for 20% off. You can stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code Achiever. You know, we are an entrepreneurial family. We are a neurodivergent, chaotic, fun, smart, wonderful entrepreneurial family. And we use Shopify to make it easy and bring our business ideas to life. If you've been sitting on a business idea, Shopify makes it easy to make it happen. It's everything you need to start selling just from day one. The moment your first customer is ready to pay is an amazing moment. Shopify checkout helps more of them finish the purchase. And when they come back, their details are already saved. It's just one tap and they're done with that great purple shop button. Shopify powers millions of businesses worldwide, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to small businesses just getting started, maybe like yours. With Shopify, nothing stands between your idea and a real business. So go make it one. Whether you're selling car parts or you're selling handmade accessories for toys, which you have designed. I may have personal experience with that one. Go make it work. Start your free trial at shopify.com/anxiousachiever. Start your free trial at shopify.com/anxiousachiever. I take this great supplement called IM8. And I have to admit, I was never really a daily supplement person. I was never that kind of person who's going to make a smoothie. I'm way too hyper and distracted to make a smoothie. But I tried it about 2.5 months ago. And I have to tell you, I feel amazing. I have more energy. And after all, energy is everything. If we don't have energy, we don't have much. IM8 was created and co-founded by Sir David Beckham, and it was built by leading doctors and researchers. It was designed by the world's best, and 95% of people who tried it for 12 weeks in a clinical trial felt more energy. It's just one packet and gives you everything you need for more energy, more vitality, and all the vitamins and good things that you need. So go to im8.com/achiever right now, or click on the link in the description and use code Achiever for a free welcome kit, 5 free travel sachets, plus 10% off your order. That's code Achiever at im8 health.com/achiever, im8health/achiever. Use code Achiever at im8health.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The incoming in New York, like you just said, the stimulation is just... I'm from a family of New Yorkers and grew up mostly in New Jersey, right outside the city, and then my dad lived in New York. And so New York was always like where I was expected kind of to be. Um, and I moved there right after college, as I had always assumed I was going to do. I was there 2 years, and I just was like, this city is not good for you with your nerve. I knew then. I mean, I've always known I have mental illness. I was like, you got to get out of here. I had that voice. I was 22. So and I love New York and I love to visit. And yet when I come into New York, I do feel like I have to put some kind of like armor on me because the sheer incoming of everything is just so intense. And if you leave it for a long time, you come back to it and you're like, oh my God, how did, I have so much respect for New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And I think that it really matters. And if I may, to come back to your mother, I think your mother showed up to love you and protect you. And I had a brother, I didn't really have a brother, that my mother had a baby who died about 15 months before I was born. It was a boy, and he died almost at term. So it was an unbelievably tragic experience. And in January, he came to me like a soul, not a face, because he was never a living person, but he came to me and he said that I wasn't alone, and he was sorry that he hadn't been there for me growing up, but that he was there for me and my sister. And I don't think it's an accident that it was also at a time when I just like kind of came to a pause. And so it was funny because it was like this spirit in my life that had always animated me, was that I was the oldest girl of a single mother, a very typical story for strivers. And, I had so much on my shoulders at a really young age that I shouldn't have had. And then my brother was like, I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you. And it was so completing in a way.
You know what? First of all, I'm grateful you had that experience, and my condolences for the loss of your brother. I want to pause and say that.
For my mom, really, and my dad. Yeah.
Right. But for the whole family, the loss. But what it also reminds me of is the fact that we truly are, and a friend said this years ago, and we hear a lot, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. So your brother is still a spiritual being. He just didn't have the human experience.
That's right.
Right? So he's still present and can come at any moment. And I think same thing to your point with my mother. My mother is with me often and guides me often. And my sister too. She's the rabble rouser. So that's always very interesting. The things that she encourages me to do and say. And it's always very interesting. So
is she alive?
No, she's deceased as well.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's her. If you see the photo of me and the little girl, that's my sister right there.
There's like a light over it, so I can't really see it.
Yeah, it's a little, if you can see.
Oh.
That's me and my big sister. And I believe that, who we are is, of course, intrinsically influenced by those who are around us, living and present, the spirits that surround us. So I have a couple of final questions and we can wrap it up if that's okay. Really just one or two. So we've talked about being middle-agers, middle-lifers. For the other middle-lifers that are listening right, what is one truth about being a middle-aged, high-achieving woman that you wish younger women knew? Not the polished version, but the truth you actually usually only share with your closest friends.
I think the truth is that it gets better. And, I can look at myself in my 30s and say, oh my God, you were so beautiful.
Yep.
If you only had been able to see that, instead of hating yourself, all those wasted years. Oh my, George Bernard Shaw said youth is wasted on the young. And I 100% believe that. I just, I don't have the time or the patience for all the crap anymore.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. Well, I don't have anything to follow up with. I think I can agree with you. Yeah, that it gets better. And if you could move past ego death, right? We talked about this in our prep, which was a lovely conversation. And it really made me think about the death to my own ego associated with all the places I've worked and all those things. But if you could move past the ego death and just be, no expectations from anybody, family, friends, your audience, children, no algorithm, no brand. What would your most honest, middle-aged, anxious achiever self want to say right now to yourself?
I'm scared.
Touche.
You ask the best questions.
Oh. Well, thank you, Maura. Thank you. I think there's something to that, though. I think that's really powerful. And I appreciate that because I think that I don't know, Maura, I don't know, because I tell people all the time, I've never been 52 before. I don't know. And it's like, I think there's some things you can become assured of. Like, I don't know, I didn't have children, but how many kids do you have?
3.
Okay. Tell me if I'm right or wrong here. But once you have that third one, you kind of know what's going to happen or at a certain stage. I mean, they're all different beings, but perhaps you know how to change a diaper, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? You know how to cook the bottle in the baby. Like, there's certain things you just know how to do. I know how to do certain yoga poses. I can get in there with strength and agility, right? But when we're in these phases of newness, you're just like, okay, I'm in a foreign city. I never been here before, never been 52 before. I've never, had as little income coming in. Okay. Right. So I got to hope. The reason why I bring all that up is I have to hope, Maura, that there's value for our own spirits in us being able to say and admit to ourselves how we feel. So when you say, I'm scared, that perhaps there's some assurance in that. Like, okay, I'm going to acknowledge where I am right now. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the next step is. I'm scared. I don't know. And then moving from there versus moving from I got this, I'm going to be okay. And like, no, I don't got this. I don't know what's next.
The ability to be able to feel a scary emotion and just feel it is a superpower. And that is another thing that hopefully comes with age, although hopefully you can start a lot earlier. I mean, I teach this to people. That is a superpower. And so, yes, to be able to say I'm scared and just be scared and not like have to deny it, fix it, turn on Netflix, have a drink, go on Instagram is like, that is strength.
Yeah. Well, my sister, it's been such a joy to have you here at Freedom at the Mat and for me to join you on The Anxious Achiever. Everybody listening, and I've got some parting words. If you got some too, go ahead and chime in, Maura. But this episode came out of an honest conversation that Maura and I had after meeting at South by Southwest in 2026. And we acknowledged we were both podcasters. We were both women podcasters. We were both finding our way. We both pivoted into this space. This is not our primary space. And we were both in midlife. And that there is freedom, there is joy, but there's also quite a bit of uncertainty. And we want to do this episode for ourselves, but also for anyone, male or female, who may be in midlife and may be experiencing quite a bit of uncertainty. You are not alone. Not just us. I know many of my friends, and I'm sure many of Maura's friends, are in the same phase of life. We trust that it's all going to be okay. We know that it's going to be okay. We know many of us have children to get through college. Many of us have mortgages, right? So saying it's okay is kind of like a little cliche, like it's going to be okay. But the depth around that is in knowing that what got you here, you're still the track record of everything you've done to get here.
That's right.
And if you really re-engage with that person and find the courage to pivot and lean into perhaps a new area or new networks, that it truly will be okay. Maura, anything else you want to add?
I love that. And I'm just going to leave with some super practical advice, which is every day, reach out to 3 people. Every day.
On phone or text, tell us how. Reach out.
LinkedIn, text, email, chat, whatever. Do something to connect with your social network every single day when you are in one of these liminal, scary, employment-seeking spaces, and limit it. It's like, I've done my 3. I'm not going to worry anymore.
Okay. Stay connected. Woo.
3 a day. It's like your vitamins, 3 a day.
Thank you so much.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
To all of our listeners, Ashe, may God continue to bless each and every one of you.
That's it for this week's show. If you like the show, follow us and tell your friends. And please leave us a review. It really helps the anxious achiever get found by people just waiting for our content. I'm your host, Maura Aarons-Mele. Lots more to come in the next episode.